Hello, I'm Scott Bogey here with your LFA fight challenger, Cristina Brador, ahead of her LFA 217 fight against Mackenzie Stiller. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me back on the show.
And how have you been doing since that last fight?
I've been doing great, working really hard, nonstop. I've left, I don't know if you know, but I'm a part-time nurse now, full-time fighter. And I've backed away even more from that. So even more time at the gym, which has been excellent. And I've really downpacked in my daily routine, my weekly routine, and I'm enjoying myself.
Exactly. And how had it been trying to balance the nursing as well as the fighting?
So it can be difficult at times, but my career both inside and outside the cage is quite a blessing. So I'm really lucky. I have a great boss. She's given me lots of flexibility, especially during this camp. We've been in camp for some time this time around. We've known about this fight for a while, and we were close to having some other fights even before this one. So I feel like I've been in camp for much longer than my actual signing. So it's been great.
And in this fight coming up, what do you feel like your main strength is?
Um, I think just like my last fight, my striking is just elevating. Along with my striking, it's the mixing. It's the mixing of the MMA and coming out as a true MMA martial artist versus a striker or a grappler is what I think is giving me that edge.
And in that last fight, you were able to come away with a unanimous decision victory. How did you feel
Mhm.
like that fight went for you?
I think it was my best fight so far. I felt very complete. There's always a little disappointed I didn't get the
Yeah.
finish. I feel that I was pretty close in a few moments, and I could hear my corner continuing to tell me be smart, make good decisions. But that all comes with cage time,
Yeah.
right? I started this sport late age wise. I haven't had as much cage time as I would prefer at the level that I'm at, and I'm very grateful and excited that I'm at this higher level on the main card already for LFA. But I wish I would have had more cage time prior to. So this is all just a learning curve, and I'm trying to learn as fast as I can and enjoy myself in the process.
And what do you feel like is next? Once you come into that fight and get the victory, what are you wanting next?
I want to turn it around just like last time, as quick as possible. And I want to be on the short list. Call me. I'm ready. I'm ready to go. I know that 4-1, could argue I should be 5-0. Especially if I get another finish, I'm ready for the short call, 1 week notice, days notice. I stay ready on weight wise. I stay in the gym. I'm ready for my opportunity. I'm ready to seize it.
And you're talking about the UFC there. It was not that long after your fight, the UFC came down to Florida. And how was that for the MMA Masters in particular, but also just the atmosphere in the city?
Yeah, I was gonna say the atmosphere in the city was electric. Everybody in the city loves MMA. It was really exciting, and it's interesting because Miami is such a busy place that it can be hard to grab
Yeah.
attention sometimes. But that card was huge. It was really enjoyable. The fighters came to different gyms. There were different restaurants, things all week long. So it was really cool.
And how good would it be sometime like in the next year or two, you being able to be on one of those cards?
I mean, incredible. I don't care where it is. It can be in my backyard. It can be in Perth, for example, that's coming up.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter where. I'm there. As long as that I'm on the card and it's my name versus somebody else, I'm in.
And I think it was Dan Ige said he's always looking at the UFC cards just in case anyone does pull out. Are you
Mhm.
starting to kind of have that same mindset, just seeing what fights are coming up?
So that's an interesting question. I've just stepped into that mindset because I do the same for LFA and
Yeah.
leagues around me. I try to stay up to date on my competitors, right? Because it can be anyone at any time. I knew about my current opponent prior to signing a fight with her.
Yeah.
So I try to keep myself as educated as possible. So now that we're getting up to those levels, I'm starting to do the same with the lower cards and certain MMA fighters in the UFC.
And your opponent here, Mackenzie, has got a lot of big organization experience. She's also had
Yes.
that fight LFA. She's had that experience in Bellator. Do you feel like you being able to defeat someone of that magnitude just shows you are ready for that next step?
That's exactly what I'm talking about. This is a Bellator veteran. She's a heck of a fighter. I have nothing really negative to say about her. I'm
Yeah.
honored to fight her. I'm glad she took the fight. I've had a lot of girls that don't want to take the fight, and for whatever reason it may be, I understand. But she's 4-1. She's got a few finishes. A veteran. This is the type of girl that I want to put into the canvas, is to prove that not just I can win, because I think I've proved that already. I've proved that I can fight MMA, but am I ready for that next level? And this is what I'm going to do in this fight to prove that I'm ready for the next level.
And you kind of touched on that, like you're surprised she took the fight. Now, speaking to women in the MMA, it seems like there is one part of the lack of opportunity for fights, and then partly fighters are starting to avoid people to try and protect their records. Have you kind of
Hmm.
encountered that recently?
Yeah, definitely. I think, and I'm sure that she's in a similar realm.
Yeah,
It can be scary to go up against someone that's, she's a brown belt in jiu-jitsu. She's a black belt in judo, been fighting her whole life. Quite the grappler, right? And that's always a threat. Not that strikers aren't a threat, but sometimes, you can elevate your striking a lot quicker than grappling, than jiu-jitsu. You really have to be in the game for a while to know, because there's levels to this, right? So I've started to realize that it's not that easy anymore just to pick up a fight. And, I take it as a compliment, and I understand from our realm too. My coaches don't allow me to just grab anything,
yeah.
because for me, I would love to go every month. Why not? Like I said, I keep on weight. I'm very flexible at my job. I'm always in the gym. But you have to be smart. You have to be smart at this point. But I've made it a key point in my career to make sure that I'm, for lack of better words, not fighting bums. So when you look at my record, maybe I don't have 10 fights, maybe I haven't been fighting since I was 15, but the girls I fought are legit.
Yeah.
And that is something that I'm very, very proud of.
And do you feel like having organizations like Invicta, and then I know Combat Global did have
Mhm.
that card where it was all women. Do you feel like having
Yeah.
those type of opportunities just help you in women's MMA just uplift that type of sport?
Hmm. Yeah, I love it. I love it. And frankly, when I'm not on the card, I'm watching as a fan. I love it. I want to see more and
Yeah,
more girls out there. I love it when girls are a bit, MMA Masters is very special, especially because of its location, and Miami, its location. People are constantly inflowing and outflowing. Our door's a revolving door. I'm a permanent resident, and I'm from this city, born and raised. But there are a lot of women fighters that come to, because they see our gym is full of fantastic girl fighters. So maybe they'll
yeah.
come for a month or two, and we're just elevating each other. It is what it is in the cage, but outside, it's very, very awesome to see these girls, especially at younger ages, start this sport and see their families supporting them. So cards that are all girls, Invicta, for example, as an organization, very inspiring. I love it.
And what did you make of the Contender Series? Because I think over the full 10 weeks, I think there's only like two
One
fights
or
which
two.
were
Yeah.
women's fights. Do you
Yeah.
feel like they needed to have more people in there?
Yeah, yeah. In general, the contender doesn't fill themselves all the way to the end to leave opportunity open
Yeah,
for people. We're in the contender season, right? You make a big show on the regional scene, you get a call, which would be amazing. But I've noticed, I did some math. Like I said, I keep up to date. In the last few contender seasons, there have been barely any
yeah.
females. I don't know that that's so much that they don't want the females, as more of they're just finding females straight because, right, we're a niche sport. And then even more niche is the females themselves. And then you divide them into weight classes. But mainly that they've actually had 125ers and 135ers on the contender more than straw weights. However, next week they're going to have a straw weight match. And hopefully it's not the last one, but it'll be the first one for the season.
And what do you make of Whaley's vacating the belt and moving up? Do you feel like it comes now that it looks like to become a double champ, that's no longer the case? You have to vacate and then go up. Do you feel like with
Yeah.
champions who've been dominant, who've had those multiple defenses, they should have that chance of becoming two belts?
Yeah. You know, I in my eyes, if she wins the next belt, to me, she is a double champ, even if she
Yeah,
vacated it.
yeah,
But I think organization wise, that'll be what right now we have about 9 or 10 champions that have done it. And by the end of the year, the potential of 12 because of Islam,
Islam.
Taporia,
Yeah,
and as well as Wei Li, the potential of having quite a few more. I think the organization had to make a decision of balancing
yeah.
how do we manage the fact that we want them to have the opportunity, but we kind of have to let the ball keep rolling elsewhere. So I think it's more based on that, but at least spirit wise, you retain a belt in your division. Yes, you let it go to the next one, but if you win that belt right away, to me, you're a double champ.
And how do you rate, like, how do you break down that Whaley versus the Valentina fight as well as the Mackenzie Dern fight as well?
the Whaley versus Shevchenko fight is a really interesting one because time and time again, both fighters have been doubted, right?
Yeah.
But Whaley, she's incredible. She's compacto, she's smaller, she's quicker, she's all around skilled. I'm not sure though. Shevchenko is the best. I think she's one. I mean, Whaley is still GOAT as well. I don't mean any insult towards her, but it's hard. It's hard to go up against one of the most, other than Amanda Nunes, dominant female ever to exist in the sport. So I couldn't be more excited about it. But when it comes to my division, the strawweight division, I find it interesting the choices that they made on who's gonna have the ability to take that vacant belt. I think Berna definitely has earned it. I think Mackenzie's career overall is a fantastic career, but that top five has been fluctuating. Girls have wins, losses, wins, losses. Other than Berna, I don't really see anybody that's just been on a straight trajectory up. So we'll see because it's one thing for one of them to win, but who can retain the belt at 115? That's really what I'm curious about. But I'm excited for the Whaley. That super fight is truly something. I'm not here to doubt the champ, but Valentina is otherworldly. So I'm probably going to be leaning towards her.
And do you feel like the UFC are starting to need to create a fourth weight class with
Hmm.
atomweight?
Yeah, I think it's time. I think it's time. I think we touched upon this a little bit last
Yeah,
time as well. They've got the athletes. They've got the athletes to open it up. Maybe do a tough season about it. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
that you have a group of girls and they're available. I mean, they're just going to Asia. They're going
Yeah.
to other leagues. So I don't see why not. The money's there, the athletes are there, the interest is there, fan wise. So let's do it. Open up another division.
And how would it be to become and have a tough season, all female again? I know they had one. I'm
Mm,
not sure if it was the last one or the one before that, where it was Amanda Nunes versus Pena. But how good would
yeah.
it be to see that happen again?
I honestly was kind of hopeful this season was maybe it didn't have to be all female, but I was hopeful we were going to have at least a female team or division.
Yeah,
Disappointed that it wasn't. I think it's more interesting. Maybe I'm biased, but I think it's time that we get some females in the tough house again and see what they're made of.
exactly. And how do you feel like you would cope in that house? Because I think I've heard a few things like there's no clocks, you start to lose track of time. How do you feel like you
Yeah.
would deal with
Yeah.
that?
I think it would be like anything else, a difficult and challenging
Yeah,
situation, but what an opportunity.
yeah.
I'm going to be honest. I've already put myself in a mental place that I think about it. I journal about it. If I were ever given that chance, there's no doubt that I would be in there. I've done some, it's kind of a different topic, but I've done some missionary trips in Dominican Republic. I'm half Cuban, half Dominican, and you go. It's only about a week or two, but you go no contact. You're in the middle of the mountains down in the valley, helping people, and you're on your own. And it's kind of similar where you're there for one thing, for one to accomplish something. And I see myself flourishing in such an environment.
And where has been the best place that you've traveled to for training?
Mm. For training, gosh. Well, I was just in Las Vegas with a few of my teammates that invited me out for their fight night, and it was really interesting to be at the UFC PI. It was exciting. It just feels like I'm just one arm length away from the real deal, right?
Yeah.
But then we also went to for LFA 214. We went to South Dakota, and I trained out at Next Edge MMA, and they opened their arms to us, and I really enjoyed my time there. So. But there's nothing like Miami. There's nothing like MMA Masters, and all the gyms that I work down here, Impulse Refinery. I love them all, and nothing like Florida.
And how has MMA Masters been over the last couple of months?
Fantastic. I think we're doing great, particularly on the regional scene. But I think that we're finally getting the acknowledgement wise for our female team. We've got some killers. We've got some killers, and it takes a lot. It's kind of easier to create a male team to have some killers on a male team, but it takes a lot to create not just have one, but have several females that are absolute beasts, and our gym's got that.
And do you feel like that makes these training camps a lot easier, knowing that you don't have to go out and try and find these training partners? They're already there at your gym.
That's exactly what it is. I don't have to go too far. I don't have to, and in general, in my city is full of talent.
Yeah.
right? And MMA Masters is full of it as well. I don't have to go searching. A lot of the girls that are on our team permanently now have been searching their whole career and have made a home in Miami and Hialeah MMA Masters because the talent is there. So I'm lucky as a Miami girl born and raised to have it right at my fingertips.
And once you go out there and get the victory, what would you do to celebrate?
I mean, other than immediately getting a nice cheeseburger and a Dr. Pepper, I'm going to be back in the gym. I believe now is my time. This is my year. My goal when we spoke last time, 2026
Yeah.
UFC, I'm right about there. I think I have a fair argument that
Yeah.
if I continue on this win streak, if I continue being entertaining, if I continue getting finishes, that there's no reason why I shouldn't have an opportunity. So that really to me usually I go back to work, I help the bank account a little bit, I restructure the body, you put on some weight, all that good stuff. And not that I'm not going to do some extent of that to
Yeah.
keep life kind of rolling, but this time around it's all about what's going to get me the shot. This is, and I'm not looking past my opponent. I want to make that very
No.
clear.
Yeah.
I'm focused on the now, but I know that right after I'm ready to go.
And how do you feel like the matchmakers are at LFA? Because obviously you two are very well skilled female fighters, being able to get matched this early on in your career. How well
Mm.
do you feel like they are being able to get this fight put together?
Yeah, I think LFA does not play when it comes to matchmaking. I have a lot of experience just because of the gym that I'm at with regional organizations and
Yeah.
how, and the boys and the girls and what's happening around us and whatnot. And there is no easy fight in the LFA. There's just not. And that's because they want to prove that whoever is winning the most in the LFA, whoever gets the belt in LFA, there's no question they get the call,
Yeah.
right? So I'm not surprised that the matchmakers ended up where they did with this. I also think they attempted to match each of us with some different opponents and it didn't work out. So they said, fine, killer versus killer, let's do it.
And finally, do you have a prediction for this fight?
So I gave you a prediction last time of a finish in the second round. I'm not going to do so this time. I'm just going to tell you some guarantees. Guarantee you that from the beginning of the bell to the end, I will be looking for that finish. And I guarantee you, most importantly, which any opponent I've ever fought can tell you the truth, and their post interviews and the moments that I've spoken to them, I'm bringing the violence and I'm bringing the pain. If you choose to fight me, you're going to get it. Win or lose, it's coming to you. Okay, so that's what I can guarantee for my fans, and I'm excited for them to watch.
Exactly. It's got a fight of the night written all over it. You guys do
Yes,
not
sir.
want to miss LFA 217 on September 12th. And you can watch Cristina get another victory on her record. Is there anything you want to add or anyone you want to shout out?
Yeah, I want to shout out obviously my gym and my sponsors, Diversified Tax. I mean, they've done everything for me this camp, my food, my support, my clothing. I mean, you name it, they're there for me and they have been through my ups and downs in my career. So I appreciate my gyms, I appreciate my sponsors, and I appreciate you for having me back on. And to my city, Miami, te quiero. I love you, mi gente. We're going for another one. Let's go.
And thank you so much for coming on. Make sure you guys tune in. It's a fight you definitely don't want to miss.